everyone, and welcome back to the Steam Forward podcast. I'm your host, Savannah, and I'm just so excited today because I have two amazing guests. My guests are by the names of Pedro and Fred, and they work with us in the summertime, and they teach the kids all about botany. They teach kids about bats, bees, and butterflies, which, if you didn't know, they are pollinators, and they keep the earth alive and balanced. And Pedro, he's an immigrant from Guatemala, so he's really had a journey to come here and get here. And he came here only knowing a Mayan dialect, learned Spanish, and now he knows English. And he's also a high school graduate, which is super amazing. And Fred has a academy called the Environmental Awareness Academy, and he's just going to give us some insight into that and all the amazing things that he's doing in Honduras. So please help me welcome Fred and Pedro.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes. Is doing okay? You're doing okay, Pedro?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Good. So we're just going to start the conversation with you. How long have you been here in America?
Okay. So I have me here around 4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Yeah. So I was 15 when I came,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
I think he knew Fred in somewhere, and
Oh, okay.
he asked Fred if he can give me some job.
Yeah, job. Yeah, yeah.
And yes, Fred did, and I think he gave me about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
And he said that I needed to go to school,
Yeah.
and I didn't go.
Oh, no. Pedro.
Yeah, so I was working at the next door
Mm-hmm.
nursery,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Fred was working on the bat house,
Yeah.
and he saw me working on
Yeah.
the next door, and I think he talked with Thomas, my brother, and Thomas told me that Fred wanted me to go back to Pacho Heaven and work.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Fred and Roberto gave us opportunity to work there,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
And
And so when you were trying to get your high school diploma, was it in school? Was it online?
it was online.
Online?
Yeah, I did most of my classes online.
Okay.
And in my opinion, I think it's really hard online.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, as you can
Yeah.
see, my English
No,
used
it's
to be
good. Yeah.
I need to develop more because I have lack of interaction,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it took me like a year to get my high school diploma.
But you got it in a year, and you were 15 or 16?
Now I'm 19.
Oh, you just got your high school
Yeah,
diploma.
I just got.
Good job. But you did it in 1 year, though. That's amazing. It takes us 4 years to get a high school
Well,
diploma.
yes, but I think it's different with just
Right.
GED diploma.
Right.
Yeah, but
There's nothing different.
No, there's
Listen,
nothing.
this kid came 15. I mean, he looked like a child. I mean,
Yeah.
which was like, and he came right at Christmas, so it was like, okay, well, you can stay, but
Mhm.
you need to go to school. You can't
Yeah.
back here. You can't be working.
Exactly.
So when I saw him over in the nursery, I was like, I cried about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we said, okay, come on. And then we kind of threw him in school, made him go to school. But that's when he came to us, he came to the Environmental Awareness Academy.
Right.
And through Gen 2050, we were able to get him kind of stabilized.
That's awesome. But when you came to America, you only knew, and what was the Mayan dialect that you were speaking, or you know?
it's called Ishil
Ishil,
and Spanish.
and then you learned Spanish, or you already knew Spanish?
I already knew Spanish at that time, and so
Now you're just learning the English.
yeah, just English. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, you're doing so good. You're 19. I only speak one language, and I'm 26. So you're doing great. You're doing great. So what are your future plans? Like, what do you want to do now that you've been doing all these things with Fred and you have your high school diploma? What's next?
So now that I got my high school diploma,
Okay.
so I want to go to college.
Mhm.
I want to be an engineer.
Awesome.
So-
Which kind of, or what kind?
Civil engineer.
Civil? Okay.
Yeah. So I asked around question about it, and most of people have told me that it took 5 years to get it. So
Yeah.
hopefully I will go to college soon.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find out with Fred how I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That is so inspiring. You guys, Fred, all these people I've ever interacted with that you know from Guatemala and Honduras, they are like amazing stories.
Well, what's interesting is that even I didn't know that until I met them, that there's a law in the state of Florida that says if you're 14 years old, you can go to work in agriculture. I could not believe it. I mean, I was like, 14. I understand going to work, but these are kids that needed opportunity. You know, they come looking for opportunity.
Exactly.
Their idea of opportunity is to go to work. And of course, big companies need, especially in South, they need employees. So they end up, you know, getting what they want, which is going to work. But that wasn't working yet.
Yeah. I get it.
It's not working. That doesn't work. It's not who we are. It's not what we do. So fortunately, they took the opportunity and have very much developed themselves, himself, his brother, his nephew.
Yeah.
And they're all now speaking English, which in less than 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Imagine, you know, it takes the average kid, you know, 5 years to start. Imagine a kid in kindergarten learning language acquisition and content language can take 8 to 12 years to really develop. But he's managed to do it in 4 years, and so is his brother.
Yeah, he's got a high school diploma. He's learning.
So these kids are, you know, and the big thing that people don't understand is that there's lots of these kids walking across the border, seeking asylum. And I was just reading an article in the New Yorker magazine the other day about they end up taking the most difficult, most horrific jobs. Just their children, just to be here.
You know, it's so inspiring, and I'm so happy that you graduated high school and now you're like going to college. There's so much more, and that's why you're so inspiring, Fred, because you bring so much life to people rather than just work, because they are valuable.
Well, I know I have to say, I'm gonna thank God for that one. Because without God and the children's trust and Pastor Linda, you know, none of this really would have been able to happen because of the summer programs we were having down at Patch of Heaven. We had the opportunity to provide opportunity for kids that really need it. And there's a lot of other kids out there that need it also.
I guess my final question for you is, how has Fred impacted your life? What does Fred mean to you? Or how does Fred, if you could describe who Fred is in your life, how would you explain?
Yeah, so Fred, he's an important person to me. He impacted my life in a way that I never thought about it. So yeah, it's amazing job in my life.
I can imagine.
And my family also. So, yes.
Because you and your brother Thomas as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Fred, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and kind of the things that you've done in your life and currently?
So it's interesting because what most people don't know is I'm from upstate New York.
I didn't.
And I grew up in a very impoverished family. We had a huge, 5 kids plus my sister, my aunt, who was my sister. So 6 kids, really.
Yeah.
And we grew up poor. But we always had enough to eat because we always grew on food. We lived on a farm, and then we moved to Florida when I was 11, and all that changed. It was a better way of life financially for my parents to be here. And it took me a long time to really understand the value of an education because, under-resourced kids that don't grow up with educated parents, it's harder for them.
It is,
to realize that education is the key to getting ahead in life.
To a better life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, anyway, I went to college. I went to the University of Florida, and I have an undergraduate degree in environmental horticulture. And then I decided I wanted to get a graduate degree. I got a graduate degree in education, and I taught for about 10 years. And I enjoyed it, loved it. Under-resourced kids in Clewiston, LaBelle area.
It's a pretty old city.
So we then I moved to Miami and met where I work now, the Chesneys, and ended up working at Patch of Heaven, and things just developed from there.
Right.
And it wasn't really until Thomas, his older brother, started working for us, who's 30, brought them one weekend right after Christmas. Not that I didn't understand under-resourced kids and how to handle them and work with them and try and push them to a better future, but I kind of left education and moved into environmental horticulture and helping to build Patch of Heaven into something that it's turned into today. But it wasn't until they came in my life that I remembered why I really loved education. That so many under-resourced kids don't have one person in their life to say, your life can be better. You can do this.
There's value to you.
Right. So, you're more than just working at a nursery 10 hours a day. 10 days a week. There's more to life than that. So, not that we all didn't work our butts off.
Right.
Of college, of course. I had 3 jobs and went to school part-time just to get through college. So I understand the value of working hard and becoming something.
But I think their hard part is just getting here. I can imagine is even harder than all these other processes.
But we adopted a couple of girls in Honduras at birth, and we've given them the best education. And now the oldest one's 26, and she's just graduated being a nurse. And I never gave her anything other than what she needed. Because it was a foreign country, and there were a lot of influences around, because it's like poverty mentality is, I have to have the best, at least in Honduras, I have to have the best sneakers, I have to have the best clothes, I have to have brand
It's like that in America too.
And no, that's not what you need. What you need is a really good education. So, we sacrificed to put her in a very expensive bilingual school. She speaks fluent English, has all the opportunities now. And so with that, I think it all kind of built to that when they ended up in my life at the time they did, it's like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Then I can't go backwards on it. And since Linda entered our lives at the same time, Gen 2050, thanks to the Children's Trust, we started this program at Patch of Heaven, and the EAA actually came out of, it's like a baby of Gen 2050 Patch of Heaven Sanctuary, because Linda and I developed the program and put it in place. That was the first summer they were at Patch of Heaven. So they participated with the students from Gen 2050 to learn about environmental awareness.
Right.
And the goal for the EAA is to empower you to be more resilient and self-sufficient through environmental education.
It's amazing. I've been able to be a little part of some of the things that you guys do, and just going to Patch of Heaven and seeing the work ethic that you have instilled in these young boys, and just being able to learn another language and coming to a completely foreign place. I can't imagine. And it truly is inspiring to see them. And they're always so friendly. You guys are so friendly and so inviting, and they're so talented. I can't explain the talent. And It's just insane.
Well, and the reality is every kid here in the U.S., every kid in Honduras, every kid in Guatemala, every kid deserves hope.
I agree.
And the opportunity to make their lives better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I want to be an educator as well. I get it. So thank you guys so much. So we're just going to move into our final segment, and that's the word of the day. And Fred, I believe you told me that you had a word for the day.
Yes, I do. It's resilience.
Yes.
And resilience is really the ability to overcome challenges, difficult situations. And I kind of think about it in the aspect of nature, because I deal with nature, and really what Roberto and I do is build forests.
Yeah.
And we build forests with gentlemen, or I hate to call them kids because they're not kids anymore. I used to call them kids all the time, but they're young men.
Yeah.
And kids in Honduras.
Yeah.
And hopefully more kids in Dade County build forests. And forests are very resilient. If you just leave, you take care of it a little, you leave it alone, it'll come back.
Yeah.
It comes back very quickly. And it's just a matter of nurturing it.
Yeah.
And so resilience is kind of the same thing with Pedro. Given his story and him and Moses, can you imagine leaving your home and getting kidnapped in a foreign country because they weren't even in their own country, kidnapped, held for ransom, and still have the will to get here? I mean,
and be happy with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's insane.
With a smile on your face.
Yeah. Oh.
So they're resilient.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Fred, again. Thank you, Pedro, for joining us. This is such an amazing and inspiring conversation that you are resilient and you can do anything that you put your mind to. And thank you again so much to our two sponsors, the Children's Trust and Trinity Church. And as always, there are 3 ways in which you can listen or view this podcast. If you'd like to listen, just follow us on Apple or Spotify. If you'd like to watch, follow us on YouTube. And don't forget to leave a comment, rate us, give us those 5 stars to let us know that you're enjoying the podcast. And remember, this is the Steam Forward Podcast.
Steam Forward Podcast.